Right. Looking at Everton now. This is a brief touch on Everton because I know the window isn't closed yet, and Everton have got still got quite a bit of business to do. So I'm only going to touch on a few points. I've seen 3 games of Everton now, and I've done the Villa game live for BBC Five Live, and they're crying out for a striker. Absolutely crying out for a striker, a killer. They need a killer, so they need to invest in a striker. I think everybody could see that. Frank Lampard could see that. Obviously, I think they're going to make some more signings before the window, maybe some outgoings as well. But a striker and more firepower is what is needed. I think that's really important. And that was number one. Number two, I've got 3 points. Number two is Anthony Gordon. If the rumors are true, and Chelsea have bid 60 million for Anthony Gordon, that might just be too good to turn down for Everton. I know he's a good young player and he's got huge potential, but getting 60 million in the hand right now for a player who is to be developed, and he's not the finished article, I think that possibly is too good to turn down. If it's true, obviously. Listen, if Anthony Gordon wants to stay, no problem, stay. But if the rumors are true, and I could only say it's rumors, that his representatives and himself are saying, I'd like to go to Chelsea, then I think it's something that Everton should definitely consider. And with that money, they can do quite a bit, especially when you look at the recruitment. The recruitment that Everton need to do, especially firepower-wise, is really important. So I think 60 million for Anthony Gordon, if it's true and it was to be on the table, I think Everton, it might be too good to turn down, that's for sure. And 60 million in the hand right now, going into the last week or so of the window, well, that could make a real difference for the season. So I think that's maybe a bit of business that Everton might conduct. At number 3, much maligned. I want to say a much maligned player in the first part of his Everton career, and I think this is you're seeing a different player, Alex Iwobi. Alex Iwobi wasn't everybody's favourite at the start, but I've watched all the games, and Alex Iwobi has been absolutely outstanding for Everton. Energy, quality on the ball, playing really well defensively and offensively. His passing's very good. His creativity is good, and he keeps the team ticking. From what I'm seeing, he keeps the team ticking over. His work rate has been outstanding, and Frank Lampard has definitely given him a lot of confidence to go out there and perform, and he's performing. And I'm sure a lot of Evertonians would have been maybe not surprised, but pleasantly happy to see Alex Iwobi definitely performing for the club. And I thought for the first 3-4 games, the one in the cup as well where he played, he's been outstanding, really has. And keep it up, Alex Iwobi. You've been really, really good, really outstanding for the team. And once you get a bit of firepower up top, I'm sure a lot of your performances will be highlighted by the powers that be, because as I said, I think you've been outstanding. Anyway, that's the wrap up for Everton. Look after yourselves. Up the toffees. A brief on Nottingham Forest, with Forest back in the Premier League. It's so exciting, isn't it? Brilliant. A lot of signings have come in. The squad needed upgrading, and brought in some real quality players, brought in some real seasoned professionals as well. But the signings have all been good. I think the signings, there's going to be a transitional time for a lot of the signings to hit the ground running. And I just see Forest going from strength to strength. I really do. I think they needed the signings in, and you've got to give credit to the owner Marinakis, who has backed the manager, backed the football club. You know, staying in the Premier League is going to be paramount. It's so important for Nottingham Forest. But I don't want Forest just to stay up. I want Forest to push on. I want Forest to do pretty well. If they could be mid-table at the end, I'll take 17th now if you gave it to me. But if you could be mid-table at the end of the season, in and around that mid-table spot, I'll be delighted because the club deserve it. City deserves it, and it's still an absolutely historical special club. So number one was the signings. Number two is the adjustment to the Premier League. I'm starting to see a bit of an adjustment to the Premier League already after 3 games in the Premier League. Obviously, different players have come in, different players are adjusting to the league. But again, you know, it was crazy. Everton versus Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest take the lead. Good goal. Brennan Johnson stuck it away really well. And the Forest fans were jubilant. But again, one switch off at the back. Jordan Pickford's got the ball. Seems like no danger. Demarai Gray makes a great bent run into the centre forward position. Jordan Pickford picks him out with one straight pass, and Demarai Gray finishes it well. 1-1. You could say to yourself, Forest, you know, they've got to see these things out, which I'm sure once they adjust, they will make life a lot more difficult for the likes of Everton to do that. But I thought a draw was probably the right result, considering Everton were decent up until the final third, but that lack of strikers really hurting Everton. And I thought Forest, you know, their press started to trap Everton early on in the second bit of the first half. And in the second half, I thought Forest settled down and made the adjustments, made the substitutions, and took the lead. And maybe could have seen it out, but just not adjusted yet. There needs to be a proper adjustment throughout the team to win away, especially away from home. It's going to be very tough. But I like what I'm seeing. I like the players that are coming in. I like the players that have been bought in. Like I said, 1 and 2. 1 was signings, 2 is adjustment. And number 3, we're going to get to actually the most important part. I think goals. Goals are going to prove to be the important thing for Nottingham Forest. They're going to have to score sometimes more than 1 goal to win games in the Premier League. And, you know, getting firepower. I know you've got some firepower at the football club now, but you're going to need everybody firing because a lot of the time 1 goal will not be enough. So that's probably going to help that comes with the adjustment as well. You know, restricting the opposition to not having a lot of shots at your goal. Dean Henderson has been outstanding in goal. Let's be honest, he's been excellent. But you got to score goals in the Premier League. Got to score goals to win a lot of these games, and that puts an onus on the forwards, and maybe a Jesse Lingard, the onus. But Jesse's not only a goal scorer; he's a creative player as well, and I'm sure he will help Forest adjust correctly and score more goals. I think that's going to be important. Emmanuel Dennis is on the bench. Dennis is on the bench, and I'm sure he's going to get his opportunities. Awonyi and Brennan Johnson and the like are going to need to step up because it's going to be key. Good to see Brennan Johnson get off the mark for his top scorer last season. Good young player, and first goal in the Premier League. You know, congratulations, and long may it continue. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Forest adjust. And probably after about 10 games, you might get another one of these to see where Forest are. Anyway, look after yourself, up the Reds, and take good care. Super Kev, out.